What happens when you mix a bit of Tony Stark's charm, some of Ferris Bueller's tricks, and the bandit's silver tongue, pack it into a fast-talking, fast-scheming army master sergeant?
You get probably one of the best gosh darn army movies I've ever seen.
Find out next on Trees in Space. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Trees in Space, the show where we watch movies of every genre and we tell you what the fans thought, what the critics thought, and what we think. Was it worthy of a forest, a small grove, or just a stump to sit on? This week, in case you missed the thumbnail, we watched the 1996 comedy Sergeant Blinko, starring Steve Martin, did I say that right? Dan Aykroyd, and Phil Hartman. I'm Jason, and that's Nate, and apparently I said the title wrong.
Oh my gosh,
Bilko. It's
it,
Bilko.
it is Bilko, and the fact that you still said Blinko and it says Bilko right there. I see it. Um,
Oh well.
yeah,
So Nate, I'm gonna ask you this question. I told you when I said I was gonna watch this movie. I've never seen it before. Have you seen it before?
no, I've never seen this
Okay.
movie. And fun fact, since watching this film, I've seen it twice.
Fun fact. So have I.
I watched it yesterday, and then I watched it
I
during
watched it this
my
morning.
and I watched it during my break. Yeah.
I had to pull some things from it because I wanted to remember certain things because nothing was like overly memorable, but a lot of it was funny to me, and I want to remember those things.
Yeah, I agree. I sat on my couch and I'm like, I put on Hulu, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch Sergeant Bilko again. This is the first movie we've ever watched that I've watched back to back because I wanted to, not because I fell asleep or something. Like
Right. Well,
it,
let me tell everyone what the
yeah.
movie's about
Oh, please.
because I'm sorry. We have Sergeant Bilko, not Blinko. There's
Ernie.
no N in his name. Sergeant Bilko, who's played by Steve Martin, oversees his base gambling operations and occasionally runs a little con game, all under the oblivious nose of his commanding officer, Colonel Hall, who's
Hall.
played by Dan Aykroyd. And after Bilko's old nemesis, Major Thom, which is Phil Hartman,
Thorn.
Thorn, is it Thorn or Thom? It
Thorn.
says Thom, Thorn. That's not him. Okay, I need my glasses. Shows up and intent on ruining his career. Bilko must take extra steps to cover his tracks and perfect this scheme to take down his foe. Basically,
Uh
it's a basic ABC movie.
yeah, that's a powder sugar coating on top of what this
Hmm.
movie is. And you're right. It follows a very good formula. You know, you have, the who Bilko is, and then he tells a story about Lieutenant Thorn for some weird
Hmm.
reason. And then all of a sudden, here comes Major Thorn, just happens to come in, and yeah, and then
Hmm.
Thorn has it in for Bilko, like legit.
Well, I thought it was good because both me and Nate have been in the army for 20
Yeah.
years or whatever, give or take. And this is as close. Okay, this is not how the army is, but as far as it goes, it is how the army is. They kind of take it to the extreme, but it's pretty close. It's pretty accurate when it comes to motor pool. It's,
The
I mean, they're
uniforms,
not gambling like that like he was doing, but I mean, there's some shit going on there.
yeah.
So
The uniforms, the dress
yes,
uniform,
yes,
like that, it looked like it was like a quarter of an inch and an eighth of an inch, like, and it looked like it was centered, and everything looked
and the awards that the master sergeant had, three instead of all the way to here, and the colonel's all the way to here. No, it was appropriate. That's what real military folks are doing.
yeah.
I mean, it was
They had the
there
shoulder
was such
tabs for the NCO.
mhm.
The officers had the black stripe down their pants.
The good conduct medals, I mean, good conduct medal like stripes, and then he had the two combat good conduct and two
Yep.
combat.
And then they even had the combat patches, and they made sure
Hmm.
they matched every single time. Like, and the units were the same units. And uh,
Yes, they did a great job. I mean, I love how they did it. They started with a gentleman, the private. He first gets there. I can't remember his name, but they follow him in, and he's seen all this stuff, and it tells you the story about this post already by him just walking through and the camera panning through there here. And
Oh yeah,
if you want to hear, if you
you
want to
could.
hear,
Oh, you could win this vehicle.
yes,
Then you see, oh, brass, brass. Joy,
that's the
come wherever
officers.
you're. Yeah,
Yeah. And then the one goes, if you want to know how to work on cars, come here 0450 and 1432 or what it was. It's
yeah.
like, and he was doing a raffle. And
Spark plug maintenance.
yes, spark plug maintenance. And I thought it was great. Like when the gentleman, the private shows up, and Bilko is just being Bilko, and he's like, um, the young guy don't believe what's going on. And then he goes, "This is how we're all family here. We'll take a bullet for you." And the one dude goes, "But not in the chest."
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Maybe the leg or the arm.
Here, any one of these men would take a bullet for you.
Well, not in the chest.
No, not in the chest, but certainly in the thigh.
Yeah. I was like, and then the guy's gonna choke him out and he flips him over, goes, "That's what the army should be teaching." It is.
It is what the army's teaching. Uh, PFC Wally.
Wally, okay. They all the little there were so many little one-liners thrown through here. Like everything he said, like just very quiet and like you know what I'm saying?
What I loved is like when he was golfing, and Wally was like, the colonel lets you do this," and he goes, "I mean, probably not. But I just
Not
I just never
he
asked."
goes, yeah. I go, I never asked, but it's a military post, so probably not.
Yeah,
No, it's good. But it's like, I loved it when the colonel comes in down Ackroyd, trying to check his car out. He goes, "What is that?" "That's horseshit, sir."
why is there horse shit? Keeps the flies away
Keeps
from the
flies off the
food.
food. And it was just the way his delivery,
A
his
lot of
delivery.
a lot of how Steve Martin's character was, Major Sergeant Major or Master Sergeant Bilko was
Mhm.
you. Like
Thank you.
all of it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm watching Jason right now. This is Sergeant Smith. This is him right here. This is him. This is somehow he gets away with shit. I don't know how. Like I see like in like the so cavalier approach, like you could tell that this motherfucker's been in for like 25, 30 years. Like there isn't shit he hasn't seen. And he's just like, yeah, whatever. Like yeah, if I say this to this and this, yeah, whatever. Like get a motherfucker shipped off to fucking Greenland.
Greenland. Well, I did get a guy shipped off to Ukraine, but
It was just
but not for that
like
reason.
but like I
Oh,
had NCOs, it's very similar to that. Like it was so accurately close to what
well,
my experience was.
yes, it was very well done. I thought Dan Aykroyd's character as the colonel, because he wasn't an asshole. I like the beginning when he meets the private. He goes, "Remember, if there's anything you need, just come knock on my door." And he
Oh, sir.
goes around and
And the door is shut.
shuts, shuts. He
So
starts
true.
whistling.
It really happens. The door's
I
not
was
really
like, "Oh my
freaking
God,
open.
I've had that happen to me." My sergeant major slams the door. Like, hey, okay.
But like he
Oh.
goes, do you have money? He's like, yes, sir.
Mhm.
He's like, give me it. Give me your money. And he's like, "Sir?" And he's like, oh, you got like $500 in here. He's like, seven. You're gonna bring $700 into Bilko's barracks? And he's like, yeah. He's like, no, put it in your hat. And then when he gets there, Sergeant Bilko's is like, you smell that? I smell
The money.
money.
Yeah. And this is all in the first 10 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot more to this movie because, like, the thing says Phil Hartman comes in, who's the butthole, and for some reason, the colonel's, I mean, it's because of his position. The colonel's kowtowing towards him, like, make sure they don't
Loved
close
it.
his. Yeah,
Loved that because that is so accurate. You
it
could, in
is.
that position, have somebody of lesser rank telling somebody of higher rank what to do. Beautiful.
I tell you, one of my favorite characters though was the major who was in charge of the hover tank.
Yes.
He
Oh my
was
God. I love that.
wonderful. He was wonderful when the colonel goes up there and he goes, the first thing he says, he goes, "I'll try not to humiliate you, sir."
Major Ebersol.
Yeah, he was the best. His character was so good, and he's like, oh my God, all these IOUs. Want to use my tools?
Yes, sir.
And then the very end, he's like, I'm crying here. He's like, not the end, but near the middle he goes, he's the one mostly responsible. Wow. He goes, thank you, sir.
Yeah, like
And then he goes, are you ready? He's like,
yeah. I asked to wait.
Colonel, I really urge you not to go ahead with this.
Ah, Major Ebersol, Major Thorne. Major Ebersol is the brain behind the hover tank. He's the one really responsible.
Thank you, sir.
Can we get on with this?
Of course. You good to go? All right, let's light.
oh,
The Rita. I love that actress. Glenn Hadley. Fucking
she is so sweet. Yeah, she's great.
love her. Oh my God. Like, and the fact that like they were just playing cards like
Hmm.
in between and he stood her. I love the line she goes, I'm the only bride in town whose dress has been more worn out from wear.
Yes,
Oh
yes.
my, like how many times can you stand this woman up and she still keeps hanging on?
And then they going back and they're like, why are you doing? Goes, they'll do exactly what we always do. She didn't want to get married. He goes, you got a good thing there. I'm just playing the game, whatever, because well, you might lose this game. That one guy
Yeah.
says that, and I think it hit. It's like, oh wait, maybe I will. Um, I thought I think my favorite line, and it came by so fast. I was like, I didn't even notice it until the second time. Was when Bilko was supposed to be leaving. He's talking to the colonel when he says, "Hey, if you can get the the hover tank to work, you won't have to go to Greenland."
Hmm.
He's watering his grass and how he pulls all. Oh, by the way, I have this. You got to sign it, whatever. But he says these words. He says, I just want an honest week's work. I just want an honest week's pay for an honest day's work."
Yes.
I was, it's
Uh,
those little things I love in this movie.
the one of the little things I loved about this movie was riding around in my automobile whenever
Hmm.
the colonel was on the move. Like I thought that was brilliant. And it would, every time riding around in my automobile.
And they knew
Like,
the brass was coming.
yep. I thought that was
And
great. Like just buddy just was Bilko was the man. Like,
Bilko was the man. I mean, he's still, and I don't. Okay, the one thing that definitely got wrong with the army here was the hide,
oh
or whatever. I
yeah.
was like, they don't do that. They might have not in 1996, but they sure didn't do it from 2000 until I got out.
Have you ever
Uh,
watched something and you could smell it when they were doing the obstacle course and
mm-hmm.
the large private Private
Dubert,
Dauber,
Dauber.
when he was running on like you could see the sweat on him, I could smell that uniform. Like I
Mm-hmm.
know what that smells like. And I was
What
just
that
like,
mud
oh
smells like, or like
yeah.
the sand there. Yeah. And I think they must have ran it for real. It was like that one, they were going over it pretty well, and the people were trying to climb to the top and got scared. I mean, they did the army stuff so well, and the best part of that was at the very end of the movie, they actually have a acknowledgement. It said acknowledgement to the United States Army for not helping us at all in any of
Literally,
this or
yeah.
something like that. I would laugh so hard. I was like, you just did that because you did your research in 1996. No Google.
Hmm.
They just had to know someone on the staff that was in the army. It had to be.
Yeah. So they had to have hired a consultant of some sort. Like
Yeah, but sorry, I had to interrupt you.
oh, you're
Um,
fine.
I just enjoyed this thing so much. Um, and surprisingly so.
Yeah.
And but he did get yelled at a lot by he did, run around when his colonels were yelling at him and the major was yelling at him or whatever. And, cause, they were about to get inspected. So they went to the opposite barracks
Yeah, and swap the
and they,
signs.
wow.
The side of the road are we at?
Yeah. And they go up there, goes, who's this? That's my family, or that's my family from my
Favorite
favorite
TV
TV
show.
show. Yo, another person has like lingerie in his room or
Are
something.
these yours?
I believe you can't ask me questions.
It is
Ask
my
questions
understanding
like that.
that you
Ask
can
me
no
questions
longer
like that,
ask me these
sir.
questions, sir.
Exactly. I was like,
They all had
oh
like the
Lord.
perfect thing to say. Like the writer's room had to be on fire to make this
Oh,
movie.
really? I mean, from front to end. I mean, it was like hour and 30 minutes. It's perfect amount of time.
Hmm.
And the Phil Hartman, who's his arch nemesis, comes back and he's doing his best to screw him over. And he got the information he needs, but he just can't do it. So at the very end of the movie, um, what's his name? Steve Martin's character, I can't ever
Bilko.
get his name right. Bilko knows he's about to get screwed over and does his scheme to make sure he don't. And it backfires on, of course, the major. And is it me or is it, I mean, in my army career, there's been about maybe three or four majors that are really cool, but most of them are actually big dicks like that. Not that been in your life?
No, I've actually had some really amazing majors.
I had not. I had good captains,
I had
good
great
colonels.
captains. I've
Yeah,
had some really shitty captains, but I
yeah, it
digress.
was just. But was there anything else you want to add before we move to the 5 stars and 12 stars reviews?
No, let's fucking get into it, man.
The first 5 star review comes from Unknown. An instant classic. True, the plot plays second fiddle in this movie, but it delivers on exactly what it promises. Great one lines, an homage to Martin's humor, and campy fun.
Yeah, it was brilliant. But like,
Did you know it was a TV show?
I did.
I did not.
Uh, the first one star or less comes from Unknown. I've only seen this once, and it was a wicked long time ago. But this movie was awful.
I, that does not deserve a response. Not really. No. The next 5 star review comes from Unknown again. If you've seen it, you would know why I rated it so high. I mean, you see, like, you understand. It makes sense.
I
Makes
guess.
sense to me.
I mean, I
It
would say,
doesn't help
like,
someone who hasn't seen it.
yeah, exactly. Uh, the next one star or less comes from Unknown. Personally, I hate Steve Martin, and this movie didn't change my mind. Disgrace to all good comedies.
How can someone hate Steve Martin?
I don't know. There's one movie I watched with Steve Martin where he has a sex scene in it and he's a dentist, and that was really fucking disturbing to me. And like, other than that movie, I like everything he's ever done.
I
Everything.
mean, I might not like some of his movies, but I think he's great.
Yeah, I think he's
Um,
brilliant.
the last 5 star review comes from Unknown.
Oh my god, again.
This has to be Steve Martin's best role. It's funny from start to finish, and you don't get a chance to catch your breath in between laughs. The one-liners were amazing.
Yeah. Um, the next one star or less comes from Unknown.
We have a clean sweep.
Undefeated.
First time in history.
Not one of Steve Martin's better films. And if you are a fan of the original TV show, it would be best to avoid it.
I now have to watch the original TV show.
Yeah, it actually sounds like something that should happen.
I
We
mean,
could do a
I have to-
podcast about it.
And the WTF, wow, that's funny, or what the F, is also from Unknown. 2.5 stars. I saw this in theaters. Yep.
Is that 2.5 star worthy comment? Like, I feel like that should be like a star, a half a star. Like,
I
it's a
I
very
don't
meh.
yeah.
Eh,
I don't think people understand the star system. I don't think they understand that, 2.5 stars is a good solid movie.
yeah,
And then,
50%.
yes. I guess we'll move on to what the critics rated this movie and what the audience rated this movie. Rotten Tomatoes gave this a score of 31%, while the audience, which is you, said it was better and gave it a score of 47%.
Did you all see this movie?
Now,
I don't think y'all watched this movie.
I don't think they'll watch this movie either. It's I don't know. Maybe we were just both high watching it. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. Um,
Oh, oh, second time I was clean as a judge.
well, I guess we're gonna find out what I think and what Nate thinks now. Okay, never seen the movie. I like where's Bill Cosby come from? I like Martin, Steve Martin in most everything he does. He has a certain kind of quality when he acts and he does films. Um, and I loved it from the beginning to the end. I thought they did the army part very well. That's why I think I really liked it because there was not much army stuff. I pointed out like, oh, that's wrong, that's wrong. That was all right, except for they're not really playing roulette in the barracks. They're playing craps in the barracks and they're playing cards in the they're doing I mean not barracks but the motor pool. They're doing a lot of downtime. I don't think they have any horses in there, but who knows? Um, I thought the interaction between we talked about it earlier, the major and a colonel absolutely can work that way depending on who's in charge. And a master sergeant, even though he's a master sergeant, and Nate said that was me as a master sergeant or whatever, first class, and he's probably right. Um, and if that's the case, I know why people loved me because I loved Sergeant Blinko. Bilko. I'm going to get his name right sooner or later. I would absolutely recommend this to my surgeon and my surgeon's wife and everybody in the military I've ever known. I thought it was a close to perfect movie for a comedy. There's really not much wrong with it, and I cannot believe I'm doing this, but I'm giving this movie 4 trees.
Now it's my turn.
All right. Um, this movie was fantastic. I was shocked that you had not seen this movie before, and this was your first time watching it. It's very rare to find a movie of that age that you haven't seen. Um, Phil Hartman, wish he was still around to do more movies. I would have loved to see his future arcs and progressions and where he would ended up. But he was definitely the perfect character to like he was a weasel. He was trying to get Bilko's lady at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I loved how Bilko is just able to charm his way through everything. Um, he even gave Chris Rock, who is in this movie,
Forgot about that.
gave him the confidence to talk to the other lieutenant that was with him, and they went out for a drink. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it was just a real good feel good movie. Perfect. I wouldn't have cut really any time off of this movie. There are some parts that you didn't need, but it was just fun, like the golf part. Like that whole part wasn't needed, but it was a fun little thing there. Um, with that, oh, definitely recommend this to my surgeon. Oh,
I
absolutely.
don't want to interrupt you, but yes, thank you.
Um, I am not giving it 4 trees and a stump. I feel like I should be after how we talked about this movie, but I am actually giving it 3 trees and a stump.
Well, you heard it here. Nate's giving Sergeant Bilko, 3 trees and a stump. I'm giving it 4 trees, stump. I'm gonna edit those part out, so it sounds like I said 4 trees. And, but what do you think? Please leave a comment. Let us know if you think I'm crazy or if you think the movie's stupid. Tell us what you want. Give us a like, a share, get your notifications on. Tell a friend. What else do we have to have them tell us? What else is there? Did I hit them all? Hit all those buttons down there. Just hit them all. If you don't like it, thumbs up, thumbs down. Just let us know something. And because the fact of the matter is, we just want an honest week's pay for our honest day's work. And we'll see you next week on Trees in Space.
What?